Hello adventurers, welcome to a patch notes video for Tales from the Broken Isles. All the cards for the expansion have now been released, and I'd like to thank everyone here on YouTube, on Discord and on Reddit who came forward with balanced and design suggestions for many of the cards. I've taken all of it into consideration, and as you'll see in this video, several of the cards have now changed. We'll start off by going over all the cards that have been buffed, and there's a lot of them. For Death Knight, the minion Chosen of Hylia has had its cost reduced to 3, making it a lot easier to play on the same turn your hero gains health. In addition, the minion Flesh Golem will now also have Taunt. For Demon Hunter, the minion Rakishi Fellhound is receiving a significant power increase, having its attack increased all the way to 5. And for Mage, the minion Suruma Aristocrat is changing from being a 4 mana 3/6 to a 3 mana 3/4. While this change is rather minor, this card's change is really based on another mage card that's also changing, which we'll discuss later. For Priest, 2 of the treasures from Hylia, Queen of Helheim are improving. The first one is Maul of the Dead. It was brought up in a YouTube comment that the Maul is an actual weapon and therefore should have a base attack, even if you might never swing with it, which made total sense. So therefore the Maul is now having its attack increased to 2. The same comment also discussed the treasure Hylia's Horn, which is now also improving. In addition to its usual effect of causing your healing to deal damage for 3 turns, Hylia's Horn will now also let you discover a healing spell to cast on your enemies. Okay, now let's take a look at 2 Warlock cards that are changing. The new big control Warlock introduced in Tales was having a hard time surviving to the late game, and in particular the big swing card, the Fallen Avatar, was considered too difficult to trigger. So that card is receiving a major overhaul. For being a 7 mana 10/6, the Fallen Avatar will now be a 6 mana 7/6 minion, making its extreme effect considerably easier to trigger. In addition, while the extreme effect would previously only give health, it would now also give +1 attack for each card in your hand. The other Warlock card that's changing is Icon of Destruction. While previously being a 10 mana spell, the icon will now only cost 9 mana, which means it only costs 1 more mana than its younger brother, Twisting Nether. The Valkyr Battle Maiden tokens for Paladin, Warrior and Neutral are also receiving a small power increase. They're going from costing 5 mana to only costing 3 mana. While this doesn't change much in terms of gameplay, it does mean the tokens will be easier to play if returned to your hand. Finally, the neutral legendary, the Candle King, is receiving a major power increase. From being a 6 mana 4/8 minion that needed 5 friendly taunt minions to die to trigger its effect, it will now be a 6 mana 4/9 minion that only needs 3 taunt minions to die. Its in-game presence has also been updated to reflect this change. Alright, that's it for all the buffs. Now let's take a look at some of the cards that are being nerfed. The Death Knight spell Blood Transfusion is changing. From stealing health from all enemies, it will now only steal health from all enemy minions, so you're no longer guaranteed at least 1 health when playing it. A couple of legendary locations are also getting nerfed, starting with a mage legendary location, the Nightwell. The Nightwell was too efficient at removing enemy minions, so it's having its mana cost increased all the way to 5. This is also the reason that Suruma Aristocrat was being changed, making them slightly easier to play together. Similarly, the Priest legendary location, the Naglfar, was considered too much of a nuisance at 3 mana, so it's having its cost increased to 4. Finally, the Paladin minion Valkyria Watcher is also changing. Valkyria Watcher will no longer reduce the mana cost of the 2 Valkyria Battle Maiden tokens it gives you. While this is technically a nerf, the change would go unnoticed as the Valkyria Battle Maiden tokens have had their cost reduced. Well, that's it for all the nerfs, but speaking of the Valkyria Battle Maiden tokens, a couple of cards are having their text changed to better reflect their intended effects. Any card that references the Valkyria Battle Maiden token without actually summoning them or adding them to your hand will now directly reference the token by name. This means Aegir and Chosen of Aegir for Paladin and Stormheim Thane for Warrior. The very last card that's changing is the Hunter legendary location Thunder Totem, which is having its text slightly reworked to be more in line with older card text. Well, that's all for this patch notes episode. I hope you like these changes. And now for perhaps the final time, this has been Tales from the Broken Isles.